Hello, everyone. My name is Tony, and I'm one of the pastors here at the Hot Springs campus. Today, I wanted to read with you from the book of Matthew, chapters 9, verses 9 through 13. In this passage, this is where Matthew invites his friends to meet Jesus. The passage starts out with Jesus passing by Matthew, and Jesus simply says, "Follow me." And when he did, Matthew followed him, and it changed his life forever. Can anyone relate to that? I know I sure can. In the next verse, you see Matthew inviting all of his friends to this lavish banquet so they can meet Jesus too. In this story, Matthew decides to leave everything, his wealth, his successful career, and the first thing that he asks is, how do I get all my friends around Jesus? Let's go to the Word and read what it says. Matthew 9 through 13. It starts out, verse 9. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at his tax collector's booth. "Follow me and my disciple," Jesus said to him. So Matthew got up and followed him. Later, Matthew invited Jesus and his disciples to his home as dinner guests, along with many tax collectors and other disreputable sinners. But when the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with such scum?" When Jesus heard this, he said, "Healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do." Then he added, "Now go and learn the meaning of this scripture. I want you to show mercy, not offer sacrifices. For I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners." In verse 9, notice the immediate obedience of Matthew. Jesus said, "Follow me," and Matthew simply followed him. Matthew left everything in order to follow Jesus. Matthew didn't waste any time or hold anything back. He followed Jesus. That verse challenges me. It challenged me in a way to ask myself, am I holding anything back? I love how Matthew surrendered completely to Jesus. We can learn a lesson here about what it means to follow Jesus. Let's look at verses 10 and 11. Later, Matthew invited Jesus and his disciples to his home as dinner guests, along with many tax collectors and other disreputable sinners. But when the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with such scum?" So here's what we know. Jesus is changing the lives of people left and right, healing, teaching, and forgiving. Jesus has just called a tax collector to a new way of life, and the man followed. Then the tax collector, after being changed, wants others to hear about Jesus. He throws a feast. This is a good thing. Jesus is changing lives, and those who are changed are inviting others to Jesus. Here, the Pharisees, the religious leaders, they have an issue with Jesus. They think to themselves, how dare this man associate with people like tax collectors, sinners in the sort? These people are wicked. Who does he think he is? They even asked Jesus, his disciples, "Why does your teacher hang out with these types of people?" Here the Pharisees are acting like Pharisees. They thought they were the holy ones, and they didn't want Jesus to have anything to do with sinners, even if that meant the sinners' lives were going to be changed. The Pharisees failed to recognize who Jesus was, God in the flesh, and they failed to recognize who we are, sinners. In verses 12 and 13, it goes on, it says, when Jesus heard this, he said, "Healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do." Then he added, "Now go and learn the meaning of this scripture. I want you to show mercy, not offer sacrifices. For I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners." Jesus heard what the Pharisees were saying, and so he answered them in this convicting way. He even schooled them a little bit. They were supposed to be the experts on the Bible, yet Jesus said, "Go and learn what this means." He quoted to them Hosea 6:6, which says, "For I desire faithful love and not sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings." God had been saying for centuries that he wanted true devotion. Jesus put it very simply in verse 12. It is not those who are well who need a doctor, but those who are sick. And again in verse 13, he says, I didn't come to call the righteous, but sinners. Jesus was telling the Pharisees that they had it all wrong. They thought they were well. They thought they were righteous. Jesus is basically saying, I didn't come for people like you who think they have it all figured out and everything is good. I came for those who know they are messed up and know that they need help. I came for the sick. Jesus is calling sinners to himself. Matthew understood this. He followed Jesus and took his friends to Jesus. Are we taking our friends to Jesus? Our co-workers, our family? Jesus is calling us to faithfully follow him. Jesus is not calling people to him who have everything figured out. He's not calling perfect people. He's not calling people who are righteous by their own effort. He's calling sinners. Challenge yourself this week in the following ways. Be all in when it comes to following Jesus. Matthew didn't hold anything back, and we must have that same sort of devotion when following Jesus. Don't hold anything back. Be all in when it comes to following Jesus. Seek out sinners and take them to Jesus. Jesus made it very clear in the passage for whom he came, sinners who are sick. We as a church exist to develop disciples who love God, love the church, and love others. We need to seek out sinners. And this will probably involve you having contact with people that at times make you uncomfortable. This may require you to spend time with those that the world does not esteem highly. However, you can be encouraged that when you seek out sinners and bring them to Jesus, you're not only obeying Jesus, but you're modeling Jesus' own behavior. Matthew is pointing us to Jesus as the promised Messiah who changes lives. He's seeking the lost. He's healing the sick. Let's go out today and be the hands and feet of Jesus. Let's show his love in our actions and in our words. Have a great day.